and I hope you all are able to hear me. And we are also live today on YouTube. So if you want to share it in some of your groups, that would be great, and it will help people to know more about this particular interesting study which I found. And for the first time, Motilal did this for the last 25 years, which made me really curious what was the thesis and all the interesting facts which we can gather from it. So let's start it. I'm going to make everyone on mute so that we can I can speak for the first 45 minutes, and then we can have the question and answers round. If at any point you are not able to hear me, just tell me in the chat window, and I will be try to modify it a bit. Great. So I just want to tell you, we have kept it as a pay as you wish. So if you feel we had been able to provide some value, so we are a small firm called Nivesh Gyan, just started a company where we take lectures and knowledge seminars. So if you think we are able to add value today, so please, if you feel, then please help us in making this journey more smoother for us and make more webinars. Let's start this webinar. So this whole studies by Motilal Oswal started in the year 1995, 1996. The main mantra is QGLP. I would request everyone to go through it, search it on the internet, and a lot of people other than Motilal Oswal follows these principles where they say, first we need to look at the quality of a company, then whether this company has a growth potential or not, and this growth potential should be higher than the debt thing. So if you are able to get money from the bank at a 10% rate, then your company should be able to grow at a 13 to 14%. Else, it's no use to put a money in a company when you can get a 10% interest rate by giving it to the bank. Thirdly, they say longevity, that whether this sector has a potential to go for a long term or not. So that's again a very powerful thing they say. And last, they say price. However, so if you can see, Motilal's strategy has been a long term investors. All the funds they run has been a long term, and this whole study is also focused on the long term. So I promise you, we have captured some of the stocks which they have recommended, and I have been able to find some of my multi-baggers by reading some of the previous Motilal Oswal study. But you have to stick for at least 3 to 5 years when you are working on these particular lines. Reliance has been the biggest wealth creators for them, for the economy, and it was somewhere around 12,000 crore in 1996. These are some of the highlights. And right now it's at 7 lakh crores in 2000 and 12 to 13 lakh crores in 2020. Please remember, all this particular study they have concluded in somewhere in the month of April. तो ये सारे नंबर सब थोड़े से और ज्यादा हो गए होंगे क्योंकि अप्रैल के टाइम मार्केट की स्थिति was not that great, but after that there was a huge boom. So this numbers would definitely have changed a little bit, but these are the numbers which they have quoted. Interestingly, Infosys is the fastest growing company in the past 25 years with a CAGR growth of 33%. And it is also one of the companies which has paid the highest dividend over the years. So remember this fact. And one very powerful fact which comes from this study is that 2/3 of all the companies which have created wealth are consumer oriented. And I think it makes a lot of sense that if a company is working from B2C, मतलब business से वो consumer को target कर रही है, those are the companies which are able to grow faster, because in today's world, brand are the ones which works the maximum. तो अगर एक company, and I will take an example of an auto ancillary. आप ऑटो एंसिलरी गाड़ी खरीदते हैं हम मारुति की, Hyundai की, but we never come to know about these auto ancillaries. And what happens is, all these auto companies are governing these auto ancillaries companies. While there are some really good auto ancillaries companies which are very proficient, their management is great, बट बिकॉज वो B2B सेगमेंट में काम करती हैं, दे डोंट हैव अ ब्रांड पावर टू टॉक टू द कंज्यूमर अबाउट देयर पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट्स अपार्ट फ्रॉम फ्यू कंपनीज. So that's what this particular research shows is, and how you can take it. So next time if you are finding a company C, अगर ये B2C में काम करती है, so give it a valuation according to it. So if it's a B2B, मैं उसकी justification थोड़ी सी नीचे कर दूंगा, because I know कि इसमें इसके पास वो brand building power नहीं है, और इसके जो consumers हैं, they will be so powerful that they might always try to stretch its pricing power. Great. Now, we all want to find the biggest winners for our particular stocks. But what Motilal Oswal study is able to show us is, definitely it would be great if you are able to found compounders from 30 to 40%. And your wealth will grow. So let's say if in 10 years your wealth will grow at 14 times, but in 30 years you would be like the millionaire with a growth of 2620. But it's also okay if you have 25% and your wealth will grow 9.3%, 9.3 times. So definitely less than 14, but 30 साल में ये भी 800 times आपकी wealth grow कर रही है. So that's also not bad. But the most important point is, और अभी मैं आपको इसके कुछ examples इन्होंने बहुत अच्छे demonstrate किए हैं, कि हम लोग उनके साथ स्टिक नहीं कर पाते हैं कंपनीज के साथ, जिसकी वजह से हम बार बार इन आउट होने की कोशिश करते हैं कि मार्केट गिरेगा, मार्केट उठेगा, बिकॉज ऑफ विच आवर वेल्थ इज नॉट एबल टू ग्रो. और हमारे जो मल्टी बैगर्स हम लोग सुनते हैं, दैट राकेश झुंझुनवाला के पास टाइटन था, जो उनका बहुत बड़ा मल्टी बैगर बना, वो हमारे साथ नहीं हो पाता, बिकॉज we as a retail investors sometimes come in and get out of a stock market on our whims and fancies. That's where our wealth is not able to create. And again, these are just what Motilal Oswal study is pointing out. And as I said as a disclaimer, this is all long-term perspectives which they are bringing on the table. Right. So what they are saying is, time is a friend of good companies and enemy of bad companies. In 25 years, successful companies grow to unimaginable levels. For example, you will learn about some of these companies. So studying 25 years is both interesting and insightful. So what I would say is, if you are a new investor, I just want to conduct a small poll quickly. I should have, so that I can know what's expectations are here. Okay, can we quickly fill this poll? I'm just gonna hold for 5 more seconds. I hope you can see the poll, else write me in the chat. Awesome. Okay. Oh, nice. So we have different level of investors also, so we can learn from them as well in the question and answers. Awesome. So I'm gonna share the results. Great. So we have people who have read through some of the wealth study. If you have not, I won't be able to share their complete from last 25 years. Maybe in the feedback email, I will share you the link where you can find all their wealth studies. Great. So they are one person who has invested for more than 5 years. There are two who have just started. So I promise you, for me, this study was amazingly knowledge worthy to understand about the long-term investment. Motilal Oswal is Ramdev Agarwal is considered to be a person who is really quite aware about the long-term investing, and he is able to create a lot of wealth for people who want to invest with him in the long term. To know about the wealth study, great. So we will be talking to find some good stocks ideas and learn about investment. Great. So I hope I would be able to fulfill this requirements. And great. So while the market GDP of a country has grown at 13% in the last 25 years, The market cap has increased at 14% CAGR, and this is despite the fact that in 2019 it was at 151, and in 2020 it fell in the March, because as I said in the disclaimer that this study and they ended in somewhere in the month of April, mid and April start. So they have captured कि 2020 में 113 का मार्केट कैप था. अगर वो दिसंबर में इसको देखते तो वो मार्केट कैप आई एम श्योर कि वो 151 से ऊपर चला जाता, बिकॉज दैट्स व्हाट वी आर राइट नाउ अवेयर कि मार्केट हैज एक्चुअली increased to the more than the pre-COVID times. Now, let's look at some of these companies, and I would request you look at these numbers very diligently. और लास्ट में इसमें से अगर आप भी कोई अपने you are able to figure out a trend, मैंने कुछ कोशिश की है, and then we can talk about these particular trends. So these are the fastest wealth creator, guys. Infosys, Pidilite, Eicher Motors. And see, most of these companies were less than 500 crores apart from Britannia Industries. Or Infosys has grown at a CAGR of 30%, and this or उनका प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्सेस पे अगर हम देखें तो 33% पे. तो एक कंपनी जो 345 करोड़ की कंपनी थी वो 2,72,703 करोड़ की कंपनी बन गई, which is so powerful if we think that why we all people get so much excited about investing is it's because if we can find one of these companies, it would just change our life. And we all know that all these companies have just not stopped. So for example, Bajaj Finance, in the month of March, it came somewhere around at a price point of 1,800 to 2,000, and right now it is at a price of 6,000. So this particular fastest wealth creator has still not stopped their journey. Similarly, Sun Pharma is working in the specialty sector, और वो काफी टाइम से down है because they are trying to open their space in US. So what I would say is, if you want to start your studying stock markets, because in these stocks also there are 8,000 stocks. So how you should start picking is, I would say these might be the some of the good starting point, because it helps you classify, क्योंकि 25 साल से इन लोगों ने deliver किया है, that management quality you can be certain of that it would be good. Growth potential you might have to see, longevity you need to see, and the price point. But quality वाला जो factor है वो आपका काफी हद तक solve हो जाता है when you are thinking of investing in a company. तो क्योंकि इन किसी भी कंपनी को आप पिक कर लीजिए, you can't doubt about the management over here. Now, this is a very powerful study. अगर आप पीछे वाले में देखेंगे, because these were at that particular time a 500 crore company was considered to be a mid cap. So let's say that few of these companies were mid cap, और जिन्होंने आज large cap के अंदर हैं, तो that's why when a company from a small cap goes to a mid cap to a large cap, it definitely creates a huge amount of wealth. And similarly over here we can see Reliance Industries in 1995 was also a large cap over there, but it has also given you a 16% CAGR. And why I posted both these pictures one after another is I wanted to show you कि अगर आपने एक बहुत बड़ी कंपनी, so sometimes as an investor we tend to go only for the small stocks, small cap, कि भैया अगर बहुत ज्यादा पैसा कमाना है तो हमें small stocks में लगाना पड़ेगा. But just look at this particular graph. At that particular time, Reliance Industries in 1995, Hindustan Unilever, Infosys, SGFC, Kotak, ICICI, Asian Paints, which were also big at that particular time, and still they have grown drastically till now at a 16%. And 16%, we all as investors know that it's not a small number when your FD's rate right now are giving somewhere around 5 to 6%. So elephants can also dance. That's what I would say, which I gather from this particular slide. Did anyone notice that the only company which is coming in top fastest wealth creator and also in the top biggest wealth creator is one company? Can anyone tell me which company it is in the chat window? Yes. So Sai Suraj, that's correct. Correct. That it's Infosys. But now let's look at the another interesting thing which has happened. But if you see which are the most consistent wealth creators and how they have tried to find out about the consistency is they have tried it on a rolling basis of 3 years. So 1995 to 1998, which is the company which came on the top, and then 1996 to 1999, 1997 to 2000, and which is the company which has beaten all the other companies which were there. So Kotak Mahindra, Berger, HDFC, Pidilite, Shree Cement, Honeywell, all these companies comes. However, Infosys is somewhere at a place of 41 when it comes to consistent wealth creator. So Infosys, because it was a segment which was just erupting over there, तो लॉन्ग टर्म में उसने बहुत पैसा कमाया इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए, बट फॉर वो कंसिस्टेंट नहीं रहा, तो जिसकी वजह से लॉट ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स वुड हैव exited from that particular stock because it was not consistent. तो वो पैसा हर वक्त ग्रो नहीं कर रहा था, और कई बार वो बहुत नीचे आया होगा, और कई बार वो काफी एकदम से इट वुड हैव स्पाइक. तो हम लोगों को जो वो फियर होता है कि कई बार प्राइस इतना ज्यादा इन्फोसिस का इंक्रीज हो गया होगा दैट वी माइट हैव थॉट दैट दिस इज it has already shoot so much that now the price is actually very high. So please, again, my point by these 3 slides is it's very powerful if you can get a small cap company and you can stick it with a long time. However, elephants can also dance, but if you have found a good company with a good management and a quality, and you know that growth and longevity is there, the stock market will keep fluctuating, and it might not be always all the time consistent, but it can still give you a great returns. Now, coming one of the most powerful slides of this particular deck is all-round wealth creators. And I would say if you have to find 10 stocks which you need to research and you need to have in your portfolio, I would say start with this and look at this. So what they did was they ranked all these companies first on the fastest rank, the biggest rank, and then the consistent rank. And then they compiled the total of ranks, and over here, which companies came on top, they have listed over here. And the company which has come on top is Kotak Mahindra, Pidilite, Asian Paints, Shree Cements. And I would say I have got 6 out of 10 of these companies in my portfolio. If you have been investing, if you have invested from the last year, can you quickly tell me how many companies do you own out of these particular 10 stocks? Quickly, so that we can move on, but it's just build up the interest of other people also, and you will also know too. Okay, 5, interesting. Okay, right, interesting. So what I would say is, if you just need to think about a long-term perspective and a great company, think about, आप इनमें से एक भी कंपनी के मैनेजमेंट पे सवाल नहीं उठा सकते. If I look at these companies, all of these companies has a growth potential also. Like if I see in a bigger picture, सबके पास growth भी है, longevity भी है. Price को बस एक बार आपको figure out करना है, and there are lot of theories on the price point, and price becomes sometimes the toughest. But I would say मोतीलाल रामदेव अग्रवाल कहते हैं कि अगर आप इन 3 चीजों को सही से फिगर आउट कर लो और आप 5 से 7 साल का लॉन्ग टर्म पर्सपेक्टिव लेके चल रहे हो, तो प्राइस वुड नॉट मैटर दैट मच. सो दैट्स व्हाट अकॉर्डिंग टू रामदेव अग्रवाल आई विल स्टिल से कि मैं प्राइस को रखना चाहता हूं अकॉर्डिंग टू पी, ईपीएस एंड आरओई एंड अदर फैक्टर्स. तो आपको भी कुछ आपके चेकलिस्ट होने चाहिए जिसके अकॉर्डिंग आप प्राइस को थोड़ा सा कोट करें, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट we don't need to have all the stocks in our portfolio. If we just have 20 to 25 great stocks in our portfolio which we completely believe in, then that's also a great portfolio to have with us. Right. Again, consumer and retail, as I said in the beginning, पूरी study के 2/3 stocks are those which are consumer facing, और कंज्यूमर फेसिंग स्टॉक्स अगर आप यहाँ पे भी देखेंगे, कंज्यूमर एंड रिटेल, एंड अपॉलॉजीज फॉर द पिक्चर्स बिकॉज ये मैंने मोतीलाल ओसवाल की स्टडी में से निकाले हैं, तो मैंने क्रिएट नहीं किया, सो दैट्स वाई थोड़ी सी क्वालिटी पिक्चर्स की उतनी अच्छी नहीं मिल पाई मुझे, बट आई होप आई विल बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन यू what I'm trying to convey. So consumer and retail has been the most promising. Oil and gas, I would say, is a dying sector. I am not invested in oil and gas. I was, but I have taken all my money out of it. Just not a investment advice or something, but that's my thesis that if I see कि अगले 10 साल में सेक्टर में बहुत सारे सवाल उठ सकते हैं, I would not go in that particular thing. NBFC, I'm quite optimistic because मुझे लगता है भारत में finance का growth बहुत ज्यादा होने वाला है. So that's my particular thesis कि सेक्टर में कितनी ताकत है. और now after reading this wealth creation study, मैं consumer facing stocks को थोड़ा सा ज्यादा weightage देने वाला हूँ apart in comparison to business to business पे जो B2B segment में ज्यादा काम करते हैं. Great. The big ones who missed it. So these are the companies which were biggest in the market cap in the rank in 1995. However, they have actually given negative returns to the people. So SAIL, MTNL, Tata Steel, HPCL, Tata Motors. Tata Motors, somehow when I went to the 2000 study, was a good stock, but just in the next 10-15 years, it has lost all the wealth for the consumers and has come at this particular stage. So what I would say is it's also important to keep revising, क्योंकि अगर आप टाटा मोटर्स में 2000 या 2005 तक आपने अपना पैसा रखा होता तो टाटा मोटर्स वाज अ ग्रेट कंपनी, बट 2005 जब उन्होंने नैनो वाली स्ट्रैटेजी पे आए और उसके बाद दे टुक लैंड रोवर एंड जैगुआर, their strategy was to expand quite fast और they took so much debt. आज उनकी कंपनी पे I think if I'm correct 50,000 crores का डेट है, which is humongous. और टाटा मोटर्स को इवैल्यूएशन करना भी is not that easy because अगर आप टाटा मोटर्स कर रहे हैं आपको उसके यूरोप ऑपरेशंस को भी कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा. So you have to look at a consolidated balance sheet rather than just an Indian balance sheet, which somehow has been doing great. And just for you facts, Mahindra and Tata Motors is able to surpass Mahindra and Mahindra in the month of October, and it has been able to keep its position. So Maruti is at the first level, Hyundai is at the second, and third right now is our Tata Motors. Right. So what is the sum of the pack? So Reliance Industries has amassed the total wealth in these last 25 years is like 3,78,409 crores. You can look at it on your own. So I think this is what interests me, that it's not that much tough also to find stocks in a company, and I might lose some of my money, but if I find a right company and stick with it, there's a huge possibility that I will be able to make a good amount of money in the stock market. Great. So I was having a word with Vinod ji in the start, and we were talking about that while market is so buoyant at this particular time कि आपका pre-COVID से भी हम ऊपर जा चुके हैं, but the truth is we are actually not performing that great. And if we see sectors with ROE of greater than 13%, और मैंने आपको बताया था ROE should be more than 15-16%, क्योंकि आपके बैंक में ही आपको FD के वैसे इस वक्त तो बहुत कम है, but a company, if someone is running a company, he should be able to return of earnings should definitely be higher than 15%. That's what I look when I invest in a company. In 1995, we have got 26 sectors which was doing this particular number. In 2000, we know the boom crisis which happened, and we were in 2002 it was just 8. और आज के टाइम में 2019 2018 से या 2017 से देखें, खाली 10 कंपनी के एवरेज पे 10 सेक्टर्स केवल आपके 13% से ज्यादा का ROE दे पा रहे हैं. So the situation on the ground is definitely not that great जितना मार्केट आपको इस वक्त रिटर्न्स दे रहा है, सो यू रियली नीड टू स्टिक विद वेरी गुड कंपनीज फॉर अ लॉन्ग टर्म, और आपके पास इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम टू रीचेक योर पोर्टफोलियो. सो वेयर एवर यू फील कि ये सेक्टर में मेरी कंपनी अभी तो एकदम से अच्छा कर रही है बट मुझे इसके फंडामेंटल्स बहुत क्लियर नहीं है, सो यू शुड डेफिनेटली ट्राई टू exit from that particular stock. That's again what I would say. Great. Tell me if you have any question at this point. You all are at mute, so if you can write in the chat window if you have any question. If no, then I can go ahead. Just write yes or no. Quickly, can I see yes or no? Great. Okay, Aritra, can you write your question? Or is it a long one? Then let's take it at the end. I'm just want the to keep people at mute first, and then we will open. Okay, thank you. Great. So corporate profit to GDP is at all-time low. So the profit is also not coming in the market. So uh, the good part is I'm also going to talk about why the market is at a boom, why it's a very different situation. But please take it with a pinch of salt, because every person who comes on CNBC also is going to tell you कि ये time बहुत different है, इस बार आपका पैसा जरूर बहुत बनने वाला है. So but I'm just going to show it through the data points. So if you think this particular study is able to tell you कि इस बार बहुत different है, then agree with it and invest your money. If you don't, and if you are fearful, please take it out because it's your hard-earned money. So the truth is, sectors are not working out. There are very few sectors which are able to give you a returns more than ROE. But please take it with a caveat कि ये sectors की बात हो रही है, तो particular individual companies की बात नहीं हो रही है. तो हो सकता है FMCG में, because इस वक्त इतना ज्यादा competition है कि सारे FMCG वाली companies अपने profit margins उनके कम हो गए हैं, but उसमें से Dabur as a company is able to generate a lot of wealth, क्योंकि Dabur has a huge able to reach out to the villages and all those companies. So ये sectors का है, ये individual companies का नहीं है. So there is a pinch of salt over here by which you should look at this particular graph. Similarly for this, we're talking about a corporate profit at a overall. तो पूरे sector को अगर हम लेते हैं, so we are not doing that great. और हम 2008-9 उस वक्त बहुत अच्छे थे, और पर अभी हमारी सिचुएशन उतनी अच्छी नहीं है जितनी हम हो सकती है. Earning per share is also, again, if you see, the gray one shows you the economic growth, but the black one is showing you the Sensex. So Sensex is growing every year. However, our economy is not growing that much. So केवल 2% की economy में growth आ रही है. And I think we all as individuals also understand, क्योंकि आज अगर हम बाहर जाते हैं, restaurants बंद हो रहे हैं, malls are empty, apparel brands are not selling, because I have not went for any meeting in the last 8 months. So जो मेरे पुराने formal clothes थे, they are only being used. So market is definitely shrinking. I have not traveled anywhere. तो चाहे whatever numbers people will show कि हमने savings कर दिए, but the truth is, when a consumer goes, then only the economy money churns out and makes money for everyone. However, मैं जो आपसे कह रहा था कि कुछ हो रहा है कि जिसकी वजह से मार्केट में बहुत बूम आ रहा है, और जो चेंज आ रहा है, पहली चीज है, lot of companies have started saying that our numbers are increasing, so that's very powerful. Second is interest rates are falling, and this has always been a trend. Whenever the interest rates falls in the long run, then you are able to generate a good amount of returns in the market. And interestingly, the interest rate in US and Europe has fallen somewhere around 1%, और इससे बहुत बड़ा impact होता है. So let's अंडरस्टैंड, अगर आपको 1% के इंटरेस्ट रेट पे आप 1 लाख रुपए उठा सकते हो, और एक और देश है जहां पे आपको 1 लाख रुपए इन्वेस्ट करने के बाद 10% मिल पाएगा, सो यू डेफिनेटली अंडरस्टैंड कि वहां पे मुझे 9% का आर्बिट्रेज है. और right now India becomes a very powerful because all these FDIs. So that's why FDI is pumping a huge amount of money in India. And with Donald Trump recently, last week only, has approved a new stimulus. The money is not stopping right now at any point, what we all can see. So definitely that's one of a very important reason we all need to understand कि क्यों मार्केट इस वक्त, जब पूरी इकोनॉमी की हालत इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, why then also the stock market is going up, because it's not, and this is a global phenomena. If you are a trader, it's a great trading strategy. Whenever the interest rate falls, and uh, and there is a huge amount of liquidity, emerging markets have always given positive returns in the history. While I'm not a trader, but I know that this is what historical trend has been. So that's what you need to understand. And that's why the valuation is all time high, because FDIs जब भी पैसे लगाते हैं, they are not thinking right now about the quality of a stock or something, but they know that they can pump in money because they would definitely get better than the 1% at which they are borrowing from the US and the European economies right now. And interestingly, the number of companies which have come in the market has been growing. So ये वाला number वैसे ही ऊपर होना चाहिए था, the corporate profit to GDP, क्योंकि अब lot more companies have entered the market. But हो क्या रहा है, while companies are entering, the IPOs are getting launched every time, and the number of stocks overall has been increasing, yet market cap to GDP has increased, but the profitability has come down to one of the lowest levels in the 25 years. So if you are invested in a bad company, I would definitely say, while it might be growing at this point of time, while it would be showing growth at this point of time, but long run, lot of consolidation will be happening in lot of sectors. Again, just my hypothesis. You all can have your own hypothesis, but that's what my hypothesis says for me. Great. Now, this time they have also done one interesting thing. They said, we have studied last 25 years, and now we are also coming up with 25 stocks. So people who were looking for some of the ideas, I would go with first with the overall stocks. I would definitely look at all these stocks which I don't have, which I have, that how many years I would be keeping. And then they said there are 25 other stocks which we are going to suggest you, which we believe, based on our theory of QGLP and other factors, are going to give huge amount of returns in the next 10 to 15 years. So, and how did they come up with this study? They were small to mid-size in the base year. So these were the things which they realized from these last study were consumer facing. तो उन्होंने consumer facing stocks को देखा और were very profitable. So मैंने जो आपको ROE 15% कहा था, इन्होंने उसको 17% लगाया. Grew to emerge as a market leaders among top 3, and I think these are powerful parameters. तो अगर आप इनको सोचते भी नहीं हो, next time when you start investing, think about that bit. और इंडिया में अभी सबसे अच्छी बात यही है, there are a lot of sectors जहाँ पे the market leaders are only mid cap. तो आपको वो अभी तक लार्ज कैप में जा ही नहीं पाए क्योंकि सेक्टर इतना छोटा था, और अब वो बढ़ रहा है. Had management with high integrity and competence. So take a screenshot or something, because I believe this is a great parameters which I try to incorporate whenever I try to identify a good stock for my portfolio. Yes, and these are the great stocks which they talked about over the next 25 years. Ajanta Pipes, Alembic Pharma, Estrel, Bajaj Finance, AU Small Finance Bank, Bata India, Bayer Crop Sciences, Coromandel International, Dixon, Dr. Lal Path Labs. And as I told you in the start, we are keeping this session as pay as you wish. So there is a QR code as well. So if you feel We are doing a great job. We are a very small team right now, and all the posters and everything is being created. So if you can help us, you feel there's a value, whatever you feel, please, you can just search the QR code and you would be able to pay us whatever you feel like. So these are the 25 stocks, and I found this whole list as a very powerful list. Uh, and I don't have a lot of these. I have got only 5 stocks out of this particular list. So I'm definitely looking forward to research on this particular list for myself. And what I would ask is, why don't you write in the chat how many stocks do you have? Quickly. Okay, nice. 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. By the way, is Bata an India company or a foreign company? Great. So Sai is correct. So Bata is a foreign company, but I love their story. So I talked to a lot of my family members and other people, and no comment on my family members, but they consider Bata to be an Indian company just because it has been in India for so long. So I think those are the kinds of companies which are very interesting to me. Maruti Suzuki. Uh, you go anywhere, people would know this company so well. And recently, uh, so I belong to Saranpur, and I realized when I go to my hometown, there's no other dealership apart from Maruti. And if a person has to buy, he has to look at a service, Maruti gives him the trust. Maruti gives him the dealership at a very close knit place, and only Maruti can do, because they have got this 47% market share. Sorry, 52% market share of this automobile industry. So they can actually able to put these uh, small dealership at all these places, which no one would be able to do, because the growth which they have attained is humongous. Until they make anything wrong, Maruti is a great stock. Again, no recommendation, just I like the story of Maruti. uh, Great. So they have this, Motilal has a model of QGLP, which we talked about. Uh, I'm not going to cover it in detail, else it will take a lot of time, but I love this, and all my investment theses are based on this. And I would also uh, would request you go through the study, because don't take my word that price actually should come at the end. Price should not come at the start. So if you are looking at a stock just because it's a large cap, mid cap, and a small cap, I, from my particular perspective, that's not the right way to think about. If you are just looking because this stock is a 100 rupee stock or a 2000 rupee stock, that's also not a good. Think about whether this stock has a quality of management, quality of a business. Would you like to buy their products if you go to the market? Please understand. If you look at the recommendation, in a month's time, these people who come on CNBC and other places would be recommended all the 8,000 stocks which are in the stock market. So get away from listening to them. Find some 5 or 6 stocks which you want to research in a month. Just research on those 5 or 6 very genuinely, and you will find 1 or 2 which make sense. Write a price, think about some price levels. That's how I do, and then just stick with it. And one day or the other, market will fall, because that's how demonetization happens, COVID happens, and you get the price points at which you can invest in the market, and uh, that would give you humongous amount of returns in the long term. Right. And these are some of the questions which you can get in the slides. I can send you later. But so these are what's the company's business? What is its business infrastructure? What is the age of the company? So please, one factor which I can tell you has been very powerful for me is the amount of debt to equity this particular company has, because that is a very powerful thing. Because it might happen that the next year this company doesn't make money, but if it has huge debt, definitely has to pay the interest. So if a bad year comes, like for PVR and other companies, if a bad year comes, they are screwed completely because they have a huge amount of debt, right? And so debt to equity is a very powerful thing. And then the pledge. So pledge is one of the ways by which people raise funds, but to a retail investors, this should show that whether they have a skin in the game or not. So if a promoter has huge amount of pledge of his company, I would actually stay away from it until they have a very high justification why. And I, like all the other parameters and pledge, because of pledge, the price is so low that I believe that it can be a real game changer for me in the next 2 or 4 years. That's how I will look at. So debt to equity pledge has been one of the most critical factors, which I look at the start before starting to research as well sometimes. Uh, is the company business model understandable? How does it make money? So pharma is a difficult industry, and I see a lot of people jumping into the pharma. What I would say is, if it's a great story, it's not going to go away. Try to devote time now, 6 months, to understand it. I'm invested in some stocks, but I'm still not jumping into the brand wagon because I think I don't understand it completely well. So let's understand it's very difficult sector. The standalone consolidated figures are hugely different. Sun Pharma is a great company in India, but still it's making losses because of because of its presence in US, which is a very competitive market. So it's very important that you start understanding the market first before you jump into a whole bit about getting into these things. And again, as I said, is company profitable? So they say ROE should be greater than 13%, and that's where Motilal Oswal invests. So if a stock is not giving more than 13%, they don't invest in that particular company. Great. So this is what I wanted to share. Glad that I'm able to cover in the 45 minutes, which I thought I would be able to. Little bit about us. We are a company which does financial courses, talks about stock markets, mutual funds, income tax, and insurance. We do a lot of seminars. So I hope that you would be okay if we send you a once in a 15 days kind of a mail when we do some web seminar or something. We have got a WhatsApp group which is very specific. We don't do any good mornings or happy birthdays. So if you want to join, just you can scan. We have a YouTube channel where you can see some of our videos. We all the stocks I recommend, I am invested in those stocks because I believe I should not tell any stocks where I'm not invested. So that's what I do. That's why we put less videos, but I try to do a quality job, and you would be better to judge it. And at last, these are my contact information, and let me just put it my mic and great. So now you can unmute yourself. So Aritra says Maruti makes the most unsafe cars too. Yes, I agree. And there is a recent news where airbags would become mandatory in all the cars. If that happens, Maruti might face some hardships because Maruti segment is one which is very price sensitive. So Aritra, it's also about the market because they have done a huge market research where they understand that Indian market consumer more than his life is more price sensitive. So I have got Baleno. So it's about the market research कि हम कौन से market में काम कर रहे हैं. So that's